Well, good day, my friends. It's your old pal Jordan the Lion. How are you all doing today? I hope you said great. I'm doing great. Today we are going to have some baseball fun. We are in Greenville, South Carolina, and we are here to visit and talk about, see the life of one of the greatest baseball players of all time. When he was actually banned from baseball, he had a lifetime .356 batting average, one of the top 3 in baseball history for many, many years. And yet, like I said, he ended up being banned. You probably saw him depicted in many movies like Field of Dreams. I'm talking about the great Shoeless Joe Jackson. Daze with Jordan the Lion, and you all. It begins right now. Pretty cool old Pepsi clock. So we're over here at the team store of the Greenville Drive baseball team, which is right beside the stadium. And this is one of the minor league teams for the Red Sox. Looks like it's called Fluor Field. Fluor. There is Shoeless Joe right there. Wow. See, they've got his name going behind the statue, and then they have home plate, which looks like it's brick, which I'm sure when we read this plaque maybe it'll tell us what it's about. I'm wondering if maybe it was from his home or from Comiskey Park or something. Oh no, right here it says the home plate and back wall were constructed with original bricks from Comiskey Park. That's okay. In Chicago, Illinois, where Jackson played baseball for the Chicago White Sox. It was built in 1910 and demolished in 1990. I love this. You really never see this in a statue. He's got his ball glove tucked in his back pocket for going out to play outfield after. I'm guessing that you're meant to stand up here because the plaque can only be read from this view. It says Joe Jackson grew up playing Textile League baseball in West Greenville. By 1908, he was playing for the Greenville Spinners, minor league team in the Class D Carolina Association. According to legend, during the first game of a doubleheader, Jackson played new spikes that caused his feet to blister. In the second game with the Spinners at bat, in the 7th inning, Jackson took off his spikes, walked to the batter's box, and no one noticed until he hit the ball and was rounding the bases in his stocking feet that a fan of the opposing team shouted, "You shoeless son of a gun." A local sports writer heard the remark and tagged Jackson with the nickname Shoeless Joe. It says at the peak of his career with the Chicago White Sox, Jackson and 7 teammates were implicated in a conspiracy to lose the 1919 World Series. During the World Series, Jackson played flawless. He had 12 hits, a World Series record, no errors. Says he had the highest batting average of .375, accounting for 11 of the 20 hits. Though tried and found innocent, all 8 players were banned from baseball for life. Jackson, who steadfastly maintained his innocence until his death in 1951, continues to be one of the game's most publicized and beloved players in the history of the game. Kind of crazy that all these years later, not one commissioner has saw fit to remove him from that list of 8. May never happen. I hope it does. I hope they do remove him from that list of 8, but that is sad. Now his house is actually located on the other side of the field. They picked it up and moved it 3 miles, cut it in half and moved it over here, and then within like a couple of years a developer asked him to move it like catty corner across the street and paid for all that to be done. So it's been moved twice. Even though Shoeless Joe didn't play for the Red Sox, I was kind of curious if the park would have anything Shoeless Joe because it was here, but I don't really see anything inside the park that's dedicated to him, just the statue out front. This loft is dedicated to Shoeless Joe, or named after him. Call the Jackson 408 after his batting average, and they call the district where his house is 356 after the batting average, the lifetime batting average. So here is Shoeless Joe's house. The last home of he and Katie here in town. Like I said, they just cut it in half, and moved it in 2 sections. Only downside is that this place is only open for 4 hours a week. You have to get here on Saturday from 10 until 2. And you can tour the house, and I believe it's free. Here at the front door they have a plaque. Man, how cool is this? I haven't even been to like Babe Ruth's. Well, I've been to his childhood home where he was born and everything, but not like that home he died in or anything. This is really cool. And this was Babe Ruth's hero, Shoeless Joe. Philadelphia Athletics, the Cleveland Naps, which became the Indians, and the Chicago White Sox. He's a left fielder who threw right and batted left. He was the 1911 highest batting average ever by a rookie, 408. 1912 he led the American League in triples. 1913 led American League in hits, slugging percentage. Led the Chicago White Sox to the World Series in 1917. And then 3rd highest career batting average in baseball history. They also have a historical plaque out here that says, this house, built in 1940, was originally 3 miles southwest at 119 East Wilburn Avenue. It was the last home of Joseph Jefferson Wolford Shoeless Joe Jackson, one of the greatest natural hitters in the history of baseball. Jackson, born in Pickens County, moved to Greenville as a boy. He worked at the Brandon Mill, joined the Mill baseball team as a teenager, and was a star long before he made the major leagues in 1908. Noticed on the other side it says 1911, his first full season, Jackson batted .408. He played for the Philadelphia A's, the Cleveland Naps, White Sox, the lifetime batting average of .356. He helped the White Sox win the 1917 World Series. Yep, and then they mentioned, of course, yeah, the scandal. He and 7 other teammates were banned from baseball for fixing the 1919 World Series. This is the house that Jackson died in. So if you look at the ground as you walk into the entrance, they actually have like cleat marks from his baseball cleats. I mean, I'm assuming that's what that is. And then a picture of him. God knows I gave my best in baseball at all times, and no man on earth can truthfully judge me otherwise. Here's one of his business cards for the liquor store, and it says here that these were the actual, it says the doors to Joe's liquor store that were located on Pendleton Street. The front of the store can still be seen, so we'll go see that, but these were the original doors from his liquor store. And then they have a picture of him, which I thought was kind of crazy. He ran a liquor store, but he couldn't read. How did he know what all the bottles were and stuff? They have some really cool memorabilia here. I'm going to have to get one of these shirts. The place where triples go to die, Joe's glove. That's great. Yeah, he could stretch a double into a triple like no one. So it's like part gift shop, part museum. Of course, there's Ray Liotta playing Joe with Kevin Costner. And the movie 8 Men Out was also based on the scandal. That was a good movie. Charlie Sheen's in it. They have John Cusack. They have one of the scripts up here. Here it looks like you can take a photo with Joe. A home plate, baseball bats. You can actually buy a replica of his signed baseball, which I believe many of them were signed by his wife. I may have to get one of those. Merchandising. So it looks like as we make our way up here, we're going to enter the house. Look at this. Okay, so there's one. I think you have 2 options which way to go in, but let's go in this way. Some pictures. There's he and his wife. Love of his life. And there's a bust of Shoeless Joe. This is documenting the whole moving of the house from its original location. Take a look. It's many of the original fixtures and furniture and everything. He was, how cool. I mean, that must have been tough, because there is a famous story of him working at his liquor store and Ty Cobb coming in there to see him, and Ty like finally saying, "Hey, you gonna act like you don't know me?" Something like that. And And Joe's like, no, I just thought maybe you didn't want to know me. That is so cool that they have all this on display. And it's free, just donation only. Here's their bathroom. Wow. True time capsule. They have one room that's just memorabilia. I'll take us in a little bit. This is cool. It's like a town map. Oh, these are seats from Comiskey Park. That's cool. There's Connie Mack, the man that purchased his minor league contract to make him an A. And over here it says, Joe Jackson was the greatest natural hitter in the history of baseball, Ty Cobb. And then it says that this cedar chest belonged to his wife, Kate Jackson. And then in here, take a look at this. One of the old caps and glove. And he played for Savannah, of course. In fact, he and his wife lived there for a little while. Called him the man who might have been the greatest player in the game's history. And then look at this. Wow. Their living room. Wow. That's really cool to see his personal furniture and mementos. Fireplace. And the wedding photo in there. They have a little case dedicated to Shoeless Joe in here. The original book version of Field of Dreams, it was actually called Shoeless Joe first. They didn't want to use that for the movie. So we just came from this way, and we had seen the bathroom, which was right there. We saw the room with the Comiskey seats right there, and we saw his living room. This is the front door to the living room. So here you can see, and they actually have a picture of Joe sitting in there. Right there. It's a different chair, but that's the same table and lamp beside him. Same fireplace. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And to know that whenever he came home from work, he'd come in that door probably. And they call this a museum and library. It's because this add-on room is all a library. And of course they did that because Joe was ashamed that he couldn't read. So kind of trying to help promote it. But if you come in here and look, they actually have a reproduction of his 1917 jersey in the World Series and his desk. And you can see a little seat where he can put his feet up and look out the window. With a closet right here. And then in here, I believe that is actually one of his real local jerseys. Wow, that is so cool. We are in his house. That's a chair from the Brandon Mill where he worked. It says that when he worked at the mill, he was always called JJ at the Brandon Textile Mill, and it says, so Joe was an oiler in the weaver room. He would sit in this chair at the top of the stairs on the 3rd floor and keep a lookout for the supervisor. When he spotted the super coming, JJ would quickly warn the other workers, get back to work. Says that the paint is original, but the seat part has been rewoven. This was the entry room. So That's where, that was the other entrance we could have entered. We ended up coming in this way over here through the kitchen. So there's one room of really cool memorabilia. That was the library, living room. Really cool room of memorabilia we haven't seen yet. Let's go to that. Just because it was full.
Chicago was one of the ringleaders of their decision to go to the Gamblers and make money off the series.
That's cool.
It was the fourth game, I guess. They were losing 2-1, the White Sox were. They really needed to win.
Park.
Their best pitcher is pitching his second time, and it's like the fifth inning, scoreless game. He throws it to first base, but he throws it wide. He throws it so wide that that batter goes to second in a scoreless game in the World Series. 396 feet 8 inches, more than anybody else can come close to. He fields the ball, throws it home in a scoreless game to catch that runner gone to the second. Chicot steps over and cuts it off. The runner is going to score. The catcher, in fact, will often yell, "Cut it off," and that's an attempt to keep the hitter from going also to second base. Legitimate play, yeah. 2 plays by Chicot in the same inning in a scoreless game that they end up losing 2-1. Not only did he cut it off, gee, the ball glanced off his glove. He didn't make a clean catch and rolls to the third base dugout, and the hitter does go to second base. And the next hitter's another single, scores 2, they lose 2-1. Things were done. Only home run by either team. Threw out a couple other runners where the pitchers didn't.
Shows how big of a name he was. He used to go out and do barnstorming trips, have his own teams.
During that time, he did make...
In this case, it's actually Joe's last will and testament. It's kind of interesting. As you can imagine, since she had to, you know, really help him do everything, he was just basically leaving everything to his wife, Katie, making her the executor of the will. Shoeless Joe Jackson baseball bats now, if you can even find one, like up for auction, they go for like anywhere from $100,000 to $500,000. We made our way through the house tour. They actually have postcards of the house in its original location with Joe and his dog sitting in the front yard. How cool. So we're gonna take off from here. This was a pretty amazing experience, and I'm gonna go over to see where his liquor store was and the mill fields. How you doing today, buddy? You wanna do some Shoeless Joe Jackson stuff with me? I'll take that as a yes. Here it is, Page and Post. Used to be Shoeless Joe's liquor store. Well, actually, if we're being correct about it, it was actually Joe Jackson's liquor store. And look, they have a plaque of him right out front, stating that he ran it from the mid-30s through 1951. How cool is that? I love it. I came inside to see what Joe Jackson's liquor store looks like now. It's kind of cool. They have a little bit of local arts and crafts things, and of course they know the history here. They were saying they don't exactly know where that photo would have been taken, you know, where his counter was and everything in here, but people always come looking to match up that photo. But of course this is where Ty Cobb came and saw him and said, "Aren't you gonna, don't you know me?" He said, "No, I know you, I just didn't think you'd want to know me." It's kind of funny though, she did say that every once in a while something in the store gets moved and nobody can explain it, and they jokingly say it's Joe Jackson. And I'm like, hey, I bet it was. He spent a lot of time here working in this store. I mean, over a decade. Not unthinkable that his spirit could be hanging out here every once in a while. Come visit the store, buy something, and say hi to Joe's spirit. Called Page and Post. She did tell me really nothing on this block. They've tried to not change it if they can. So she said the original paint and everything, they've probably painted over the facade of this a couple of times, but the original paint that he would have had is probably 3 layers deep, still there on this building. How cool. We can't call it a day until we see this place. Now named in his honor, Shoeless Joe Jackson Park. This is where the field was located when he played for the Brandon Mill. It was kind of cool when I went to Royston, Georgia, and I was doing a vlog on Ty Cobb. At the Ty Cobb Museum, they were telling me that at that time, this was a couple of years ago, that every year the Ty Cobb baseball team out of Royston puts on a vintage uniform and comes here and plays a game against the Shoeless Joe Jackson team in their vintage uniform. Kind of an old-time 1900s baseball experience. Looks like any plaque that they might have had out here have been removed. I wonder why. Here at the ticket entrance, it says a place where triples died. 13-year-old Joe Jackson earned a position on the Brandon Mill baseball team. He possessed a talent so uncommon that legends grew from his deeds. His home runs were known as Saturday Specials, his line drives known as Blue Darters, his glove known as a place where triples died. Shoeless Joe was the greatest natural hitter ever to grace the diamond and was such an inspiration that Babe Ruth chose to copy his swing. Hands together, square to the plate, he was banished from baseball for life for the 1919 Black Sox scandal. Here they're showing that it's called Shoeless Joe Park up here, and they have a picture of the Brandon team with Joe on the team. Baseball. What a game. Where someone who couldn't even read or write, someone who was illiterate, could actually be great. Could earn a great living, could excel, be known across the nation. Sad the way Shoeless Joe's story ended, but what a game. And just as I was about to call it a day, I noticed up here on the pole, someone has thrown some old style replica Joe Jackson type cleats hanging up there. Well, my friends, I hope you enjoyed our vlog today. I really did. I had a blast getting to see his home, getting to tour his home, see his statue, see the liquor store, and then come out to see where his career all started at 13. Wowza. Thank you, Greenville, South Carolina, for honoring Shoeless Joe Jackson so much. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. Have a great night and goodbye.